Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Coach, brought to you by Espresso Magazine. Good to see Espresso Magazine back in print and available in the shops in Port Vila if you haven't got one. So I'm Chris, Breadfruit Consulting, and with me tonight.
Good evening, Chris, and good evening, everyone. I'm Velenie from Narara Consulting.
Good to be back, eh?
Great to be back.
So Velenie is going to do a lot of the talking tonight because it's about the topics around money. But just the last few weeks, we've been focusing around people. People are key, obviously, to any business. Getting the right people, training them, paying them properly, employing them properly. So we've had several sessions and a number of guests. We had Lopez from Coffee Tree, Leigh and Ernest, who are developing their graduate recruitment agency. We've had Anita from Moorings. So it's a very important issue. We're moving on now to an equally important issue to do with which affects all businesses, and that's the whole issue of money. So over the next few sessions, we're going to be, when I say we, Veleni's going to do most of the talking. That's quite nice, really. We're going to be starting by focusing on where the money comes from. Not much point having a business unless someone is giving you some money, income. Then we'll be looking at where the money goes. What does it cost to run a business? And then we'll be looking at how those two relate to each other. In terms of, is a business making a loss, making a profit, breaking even, moving from one to the other? All small businesses start by making a loss. But of course, it's about trying to plan your way ahead. So that's what we're going to be covering over the next few weeks. And as usual, anyone got any comments or questions, please let us know. So, Velenie, where's the money come from?
Thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone. So we're talking about money today. In a number of series, we'll be going through money. So when we think about businesses, we normally get into business to make money, right?
Yep.
And it's very important that when we are thinking of starting a business, there's a lot of planning that we need to do. So the first thing that I want to be addressing mainly is the planning part of doing a business.
Okay.
I'm addressing this to us Nivans when we do business. It's usually when we start doing business, when we think of something to do, sometimes we do it out of passion, and at times we see other people doing it and we want to do it. And we get into spending some money on things that we don't plan for. It makes us not being sustainable in our business. So I want to emphasize that planning is very important. We plan our sales, and in terms of finance or accounting terms, it's called the sales forecast.
Right.
And when we're planning our sales, we have to know who our target customers are. Identify the main products in our business, and it's all about planning. So in financial terms or accounting terms, the main term that's usually used is forecasting and budgeting, right? So it's very important that when we look at our sales forecast, it ties up with what our main product is. Who are we targeting? If we have a main target for our customers, how can we break it down into little tiny streams of income that could reach other minor targets that's not the main target of our business, right?
Okay. Yeah. So, you meet lots and lots of small businesses, yeah? What would you say overall is the general attitude to planning? Are people frightened of it? Do they feel that it's something a little bit complicated?
For me, I would say for us, Nivans, I usually say it all the time that business is a foreign culture, right?
Right.
And we have to train ourselves to plan. A lot of times, like I said, we just we think of something and we just go in and
just do it.
We do it.
Right.
And it also falls back to getting a loan from the bank, getting equipments that it cost you to get those things, but you didn't plan to see how well you are going to carry out your business using those materials that you bought or the loan that you took.
Right. Okay, that's really. I mean, I've met lots of people who have gone out and bought something.
Yeah.
Because they think that they need that piece of equipment, so they've just done it. I'm thinking of somebody not so long ago who was telling me about a piece of equipment he bought, and he paid for it, and then he realized it wasn't big enough. That it actually wasn't giving him the output he needed. Now that, I guess, is what you're talking about in terms of planning, yeah?
Right.
Thinking ahead.
Thinking ahead. And when it comes to planning, you have, especially when I mentioned about loan, when you took the decision to get a loan, you have to understand what the package is, what the loan package is, what comes with it. It's usually very, this knowledge is very limited for some people, so you have to ask information. You ask your loan officer, your banker, what would you say about loan? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I guess I've got two thoughts. I'd be interested to see whether you agree or not. I think I try and encourage people when they're starting out, particularly in business, not to start out in debt, even if it means starting your business very small. It just feels to me that if you start the business owing money right from day one, that's very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very hard to grow.
Yeah.
The other thing is when people talk to me about loans, what I say to them is go and do your homework.
Yeah.
Go to every bank in town and go and ask. Find out what the banks are offering. And don't say yes to any of it until you get the information.
Right.
Bring it back home, talk to your partner, talk to people like us. I mean, you're an expert. You'd be a great person to talk it through with.
Yeah, and it's also that a lot of banks would want to see, if you have a previous, previous history records of how well you conduct yourself, how well there's a lot of things that comes with that, and that's a whole other topic to talk about.
Okay, so that's something in the future.
Yes, it's something in the future to talk about. But like Chris said, it's really for you starting off small and getting yourself established. Don't think about your business as something trying to separate yourself from your business and try to be professional in conducting yourself in your business, because that's where it'll make you stand out, and it'll make other people see that they're conducting a business that's want to be outstanding and reputable, and that sort of thing. So for me, I'd say that it's really a foreign culture for us to learn.
Okay.
Yes.
And you've been coaching a lot of Nivans for a long time. Are people learning it?
I think slowly people are learning it. And the idea of us Nivans getting into the habit of being coached by someone else is also something that we need to practice, or we need to be able to accept that we have to be coached by someone else to learn these things.
Okay. And in your experience, do you think anybody running a business should have a separate business bank account?
Definitely. You'll have to have a separate business bank account because, like I said, you have to separate yourself from your business.
Okay.
You have to think about paying yourself first, and it all comes with the forecasting, the sales forecast that I talked about earlier. So the sales forecast, in your sales forecast, has to, you have to forecast big, and with focusing, with a big forecast like that, you have to think about breaking down, like I said, breaking down your products into different streams of income, so you get to address different target groups.
So can you give a specific example?
Let's say, for example, if you're doing a vegetable farming, right? And you target, you only target the bulk orders, right? But there's other people within your community that will need vegetables from you, but they can't afford huge bulks like that. So you gotta, package them into small packages that would fit that would fit the people in your community and affordable for them, as much as it's affordable for them, but it's also making a profit for you, for your business, right?
So that's taking your product or your service that you decided you want to produce, and then saying, right, who is going to buy this? What are the different streams?
Right.
So there might be a market with young people. Maybe there's a market if you're doing food for school dinners.
Right.
So it's breaking it right down like that. Is that right?
Breaking it down into different income streams, and
and do you do this in your consulting? Is that the sort of help you give people?
Yes, I do that in terms of this a lot of because my line of work is the finance. I educate people on financial literacy in their business or personal. So I have different packages for small businesses, startups, and those that. That's why I do bookkeeping on a very basic. That's books, physical books like this for startups, and then there's for those who want to migrate into Excel spreadsheet, and then for those who want to eventually go to an accounting software.
So to start a business, you don't have to be an expert with money.
No, you don't.
Because I think some people are quite frightened by that. They think they've got to be able to use computers and stuff.
You can start with a book.
Absolutely.
As long as you keep detailed records of your income and your expenses in a book, you can start with a book.
And if you don't keep those sort of records?
If you don't keep that sort of records, it's gonna you are going to be spending more money getting somebody to come and organize your books for you. But it's very important that you start with something, so that along the way, when you need somebody to come and do the work for you, to put together your records and eventually build an income statement or a cash flow statement or balance sheet, at least you have something, and you won't be spending too much for that person to start up in scratch, getting all your receipts together and
Okay. So where do people start? When someone comes to you, what's the first step?
The first step that I usually like to talk about with my clients is, what is really your income?
Okay.
How identifying really your income and your expenses, and seeing whether the whole income, a lot of times we get excited about the money that we're receiving, but we don't actually take note of what goes out.
Okay. So next time we'll focus on what goes out.
What goes out.
Yeah. So what sort of things do people need to be thinking about with income?
So
this is what you were saying about different sources.
Yes.
It comes from different places.
Different sources of income from different places. You have to keep your books in order, record your income, you have to also know that sometimes your incomes won't be the same as the day before. It will be, and in doing a business, you have to be prepared to face these these type of situations where sometimes your sales won't be as good as the previous times, and grab opportunities that you see around. Now, you have to be an open-minded person to see what activities that are happening around,
Okay.
and make your products, make yourself available. And one more important thing is to take care of your returning customers. And when we talk about a detailed recording book, you also have to have a recording book that records your returning customers.
Okay.
Get connected with your customers. Also,
Because it's your customers that are actually making your business work, isn't it? Because
right,
they give you the money.
Right. Stay connected with your customers, and have get evaluation on your products.
How do you do that?
You could talk to your customers, or just if you have a business like a store or something, your business station somewhere, get a box, and get your customers to write down their what they're happy about, or their feedbacks. Put them in a box, and then
That's
at
a
the
great
end
idea.
of the day you can,
Yeah. Do you think people do that?
I don't think a lot of people do that.
Right.
I don't think they do that, but it's really it's satisfying sometimes to see what others think about what your product is doing.
Absolutely.
And it gives you a sense of a direction on, I could also target these people. It could also make you create products that suits your other target markets that you don't think about.
Because I often think that we need to see this through the eyes of our customers, don't we?
Right.
We may think we have a wonderful product.
Right.
And it might be. But if it's not being delivered in a way the customers want to buy it, then the income stream we're talking about isn't going to be there, is it?
Right.
And we're sitting there with lots of wonderful products, but no one's paying us any money for them.
Yeah. And business is fun, and if you...
Should be.
It should be fun, and if you're dealing with your customers like that, it's going to make you, I don't know. For me, if I get feedback from my customer, it excites me, and it also gives me good thinking process of how I can improve.
Okay. Because without customers, you don't have a business anyway.
Right. Right.
So they become a pretty important member of the business, yeah.
Yes, and one more thing is being consistent.
What does that mean?
Being consistent means if you decide on doing a product for a certain target group, or if you decide to do something, be consistent about it. Because the moment a customer comes and buys something from you that they really like, they would want to come back and see you deliver the same product. Yeah.
I think that's quite challenging, isn't it, for a lot of small businesses?
Right.
I've met lots of businesses that maybe they grow something, and they sell it to a local hotel, and the hotel loves it.
Yeah.
And then they want more.
Right.
But they haven't grown anymore. So this business of consistency is really about thinking ahead about your business, isn't it?
Definitely.
Your business in the long term.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why it's very important to forecast.
Right. So people need real practical help on budgeting and forecasting. They can come and talk to you. They can contact you. Is that right?
Sure you can. I have our contacts will probably be running down the screen, and I'll also have a Facebook page that you can message me through, and I have my emails probably running down the screen as well.
Just before we finish, you mentioned this term financial literacy.
Yeah.
Can you very quickly say what you mean by that?
So when I say financial literacy, I'm talking about being financially literate in a sense that you may come across problems in your business, or your personal financial problems in your business, or your personal financial, your financial personally or in a business. But when you're financially literate, it helps you to how you can address
Okay.
your problems, your financial
So it's
problems.
about understanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about understanding, really.
Right. And I think we will both say that it's a crucial part of business,
Definitely.
isn't it? We have to understand people, we have to understand customers, we have to understand products, and we have to understand money.
Yeah, definitely. And there's this big word, risk.
Risk.
Everything that we do, I mean, when we're getting into business, we have to understand all the risks that we're going to go through.
We do. And I mean, just getting into business is a risky thing.
Risk.
Yeah?
Definitely.
But one of the phrases, going back to the start of this conversation, we're talking about planning. One of the phrases I use is this phrase about if we fail to plan, we plan to fail.
Plan
right?
to fail.
If we're not doing it, actually the opposite is happening, isn't it?
Right.
The chances are we're going to develop our business slower. We might make the wrong investments. We might do the wrong things at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else on, today the focus has been very much about getting where the money comes from, the income streams.
Right.
Anything else you'd like to sum up on that one?
I just like to, if there's any small businesses that is watching, I just like to encourage you to have a book that records all that is coming in.
Right.
All that is coming in. We'll focus on what is going out in our next episode.
Yeah.
But start getting something, have a book that will help you record all the income, all the sales that you're doing. And it will help you forecast for your future sales as well.
Okay. So that's a good starting point, isn't it? Yes. And then if you're working with a coach, the coach can help you look at sources of income, yeah?
Right.
And the coach might say, well, have you thought of this group of people or that group of people, yeah?
Yeah. And please feel free to reach out and get help from a coach, or just sit down and talk to a coach. It'll really help. It goes a long way.
Okay. And as you said, there's a lot, we're all learning around these issues, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we've just got to keep doing that, yeah? Thank you, Velenie.
Thank you, Chris.
I think that's been really good. So this is our start on our focus on money, very much today about where the money comes from. In a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be looking at where it goes and our expenses. And then we're going to keep this discussion going for a while yet. Thank you, everybody. And please contact us. Our details are on screen. And have a good couple of weeks. Good night.
Good night, everyone.